This guy right here is the Sendy Aiva V2 and it's been my main headphone for about 2 weeks now, and I'll try my best to illustrate to you the overall sound signature and help you decide if you should or shouldn't buy it today. It costs $600, a very competitive price tag, and we will of course talk about the overall sound signature, technical aspects of the sound signature, build quality, and I will compare it to other planars and dynamic headphones actually of the same price category, so you can decide if you should or shouldn't get it, or if you should seek another thing. Let's begin as always with the build quality, and I see you guys at the table. Now, when we talk about the overall unboxing experience, I think it's a very underwhelming experience actually for $600, but the accessories and the headphone itself are very amazing. When you open up the box, you are greeted with the case. It's the same case as Sivga SV023 and Sivga Luan, I guess. Very interesting case because, first of all, the shape of the case is very interesting, if you understand what I mean, but nonetheless it's a very impressive case when you look to the materials used. It's made of a fake leather, but amazing stuff right here. It has the Sendy Audio logo right here, very well printed. The craftsmanship, as I was saying, is amazing. Brass connectors, brass zipper, and the way the zipper slides open is very, you can feel its luxury. It's well made, it's thoughtful about the overall experience. And when you open the case, you are greeted with everything you have about this headphone. The headphone itself and the accessories. The accessories included are stored in this pouch right here. A normal pouch, but nonetheless something interesting to put your cables. And talking about the cables, you have the cable and the connector. A very interesting cable, let me show you, and a very interesting connector because it has some fish scales pattern right here. At least to my eyes, it's a fish scale pattern, and it's so well made, man. The craftsmanship, again, very thoughtful, very interesting, and the braiding of the cable is so soft, so interesting, doesn't have any kind of microphonic. Stay in shape very well without any kind of memory, you know. And let me show you the cable. It's a 4.4 connector, and it has, as I said, the adapter, always with the fish scales pattern, and the cable again very soft, very interesting, with some details. Let me show you in wood. You have right here the split made in wood with the logo of the brand, and you have a sheen slider of wood with a logo too. Very impressive stuff, very thoughtful, very luxurious, I would say. And the overall aesthetic of the headphone is very interesting because it's all made of metal and wood, and the cable too. Talking now about the headphone, let me show you. Now, first things first, the overall looks and aesthetic of the headphone are just amazing. A very gorgeous headphone coming from Sivga and Sendy. I wasn't expecting nothing less because all their headphones are amazing, and this one is no different. And one thing interesting is that there are no plastic pieces on this headphone. This is wood, this is metal right here too, and real leather on the headband, real leather on the pads, and a very soft mesh. So a very premium headphone, very interesting aesthetics, and for $600 I think it's a win, at least in my opinion. Let me grab you, for example, my Meze 109, which is an amazing built headphone too, and I dare say that Sivga and Sendy are not so far from Meze. Right here we have the Meze 109, in my opinion even more beautiful, and the overall design is a tad more premium, but it costs $200 more, and you can see that, man, both are gorgeous. I just love wooden headphones. And talking about the comfort, man, the comfort is absolute. To my ears, I can use it for hours and hours and hours, 6, 8, 9 hours without any problem. This headband system right here is amazing for weight distribution, and the pads are very soft, very interesting. So the headphone swivels too, so it's a very comfortable headphone, very lightweight for a planer. Amazing stuff. But let's talk about the sound signature. Sendy Aivas 2 go for a very natural kind of sound signature with very well extended sub bass and upper treble. So although sounding natural, it has some emphasis, it has some character to the overall sound signature, it has some liveness, and the feeling hearing this headphone is that you are not missing nothing from the entire spectrum, because it's a very well extended headphone. The sub bass can rumble a lot, it has a lot of texture, it has a lot of cleanliness to the sound signature, it sounds very liquid. When you compare with something like a Meze 109, which is a dynamic headphone, the sound signature is more liquid, more texturized and more extended. It doesn't have that impactful conciseness of dynamic headphones, so it's a different kind of bass. It has more detail, it has more texture, it has more resolution when you compare like with a Meze, but you don't have all that impact and all that natural feeling, natural timbre of a dynamic driver, in my opinion. Now, the interesting thing is that this bass translates throughout the mid-range very well. You have a very natural sounding mid-range without any kind of shoutness, hollowness or thinness. A lot of planar headphones like Mundra, Hifiman XS, Hifiman Ananda can sound very thin or metallic on the mid-range. But the Sendy Aiva 2 has a full-bodied mid-range with a lot of warmth, a lot of coziness, so it's a very coherent kind of mid-range that works with almost everything to my ears. The only gripe, in my opinion, is that the mid-range, which can be a benefit too, isn't as forward as some other headphones like a Sennheiser HD600. It's more backwards because you have an emphasis on the sub bass and on the upper treble. But the interesting thing about it is that you have a lot of space to instruments to breathe. You can perceive a lot of layering front to back because the vocals are laid back and the instruments can come up front. And this mid-range attaches to the highs very well because you have the openness and the airiness from the highs. As I said, a very well extended high with a lot of air in the presentation, a very strong feeling of detail retrieval, micro details overall, and this give a very tactile feeling to the headphone. You have well texturized bass and well texturized highs that can be very engaging. And my experience with this headphone was very good because anything that I throw at it, it delivered a spectacular kind of sound signature. If you try to listen to something more aggressive like metal, it has the power, it has the bass, it has the speed on the bass to resolve everything. The highs are very well articulated too, with a lot of instrumental separation, a lot of air and breathness throughout the entire range, and the mid-range is very natural without anything piercing, so it works very well with metal. If you try something acoustic, it has again a very well extended sound signature that works very well. All the instruments sounds very natural, you have amazing vocals, you have a lot of air in the presentation, which is very important for acoustic genres in my opinion. And for jazz, again, the highs are amazing for jazz, and this was the trend. Everything that I did with this headphone was amazing. Playing games, for example, you have the emphasis on the sub bass, so if something happens on your game, you're going to notice it. But at the same time, you don't have a lot of mid bass, so it doesn't bloat the sound signature, and you can perceive everything very well, all the information where the enemies are, and the very extended highs can give you a lot of micro details, nuance, and give a very immersive experience with music, with moves, with games. So it's an amazing headphone. My only gripe is $600 is a lot of money, and we have some amazing headphones in this price point. and I'll try my best to compare it to other headphones that I've tried before in this price point, so you can decide if Sendy Aiva 2 is an interesting buy. I think it's an amazing headphone, but we have one special contender against it that, man, it's very hard to beat on this price point. Let's begin with the comparisons and I see you there. Now, when we talk about comparisons, I want to start with Focal Clear to be more specific. It costs the same $600 and it's a very interesting headphone. On the build quality, I think both are on par. Very comfortable headphones, very sturdy, but Aiva's goes to a more traditional kind of look, more classy, more cozy with the wood, while Focal goes for a more industrial and premium design. It's a matter of taste, which one do you prefer, but I have nothing to complain about both. Both very sturdy, both very comfortable. And the principal differences on the sound signature is that Focal is a dynamic headphone, and man, the dynamics of the bass coming from Focal I never heard in any other kind of headphone. Even Dynamics 1, for example, Meze 109 has a lot of dynamics, but Focal Clear is just another league. It has a very consistent punch in the bass, a very concrete feeling kind of bass, while Sendy Aiva goes for a more texturized and liquid kind of bass. I do prefer Focal and Meze bass any day, anyway. So, but if you like a more rumbly kind of bass with more texture, a plainer kind of bass, Sendy Aiva could be better. Now, talking about the mid-range, I think that Sendy Aiva's mid-range is better because it's more natural to my ears. I have some gripes with Focal mid-range. I think they can sound kinda shouty and metallic at times. It has more detail retrieval. Focal Clear overall has more detail retrieval than Sendy Aiva's 2. Just a little bit to my ears, but the cost is high. It's a brighter headphone. It has this metallic tint to my ears, and I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. But if you tried some Focal headphones before and liked the mid-range, I think Focal Clear is a better option in this case. The overall tonality of the highs, I prefer Sendy Aiva 2 because it has more extension, it has a way bigger soundstage, while Focal sounds more enclosured but with more detail retrieval, so it's a toss-up, you have to choose, but both are very competitive. Now, when we take a look on the planar magnetic market, I have two headphones to compare. The first one being Sivga P2 PRO, which is cheaper, but in my opinion, Sendy Aiva is way better because it addressed the problem of P2 Pro on the mid-range, which is kind of honky and hollow and weird sometimes, while Sendy Aiva mid-range is almost flawlessly to my ears. So I think Sendy Aiva is a better headphone. It has more extension on the highs too and more detail retrieval, so it sounds more detailed too. Now, when we take a look on the Hifiman side of things, here I gotta say, Hifiman ARYA costs $600 now. It's heavily discounted, and I think nothing can beat Hifiman's ARYA sound signature for $600. Not even Meze 109 costing $200 more. Man, the overall tonality, I think Sendy has a chance right here, and the build quality of Sendy Aiva is better. It's more luxurious, it's more comfortable, it's more sturdy. It passes me more confidence to use it, but when we talk about sound, the tonality of Sendy Aiva is very interesting, but it's similar to ARYA. ARYA has a very extended kind of sound signature too, with a lot of extension on the highs and a very rumbly kind of bass, but the bass is tighter, it's faster, it's more detailed, the mid-range too, and the highs, man. Hifiman ARYA is just another league, it's just a beast of its own. It has one of the most revealing sound signature that I've ever heard, and one of the biggest sound stages that I ever heard, so I think Hifiman ARYA is a way better option if you're looking just for the sound. For the technical aspects of the sound, Hifiman ARYA is better, but if you are concerned about the overall quality control of Hifiman, which you should be concerned, Sendy Aiva looks like a way sturdier headphone. Now, when we take a look at Meze sides of things, I think it's an interesting comparison too. First of all, we have Meze 109, which is on my head right now. It's my main headphone actually. And I think they both have a lot of similarities. First with the wood look, but Meze is a tad more premium feeling on the hands and on your head. But when we talk about the sound signature, Meze goes for a more energetic sound signature with more mid-bass, more thumpness, more punch. I prefer this kind of sound signature. On the mid-range, it has more warmth too, it has more body. When I compare both side by side, I think Meze 109 has a more natural kind of mid-range, which is very appealing to me. And on the highs, I think both are on par. And even on the tail retrieval and soundstage, Sendy Aiva can suppress 109 in some tracks. So it's a very detailed headphone. The Sendy Aiva is a detailed beast, and Meze 109 too. So both are interesting, but I overall prefer the tonality and the looks of the Meze 109, but it costs $200 more. If you don't have the money, there is the Meze 105, which is almost the same sound signature of the 109, but with way less highs. So it has a lot of thumpness on the bass, it has a very cozy, warm kind of mid-range, and the highs are subdued and very soothing. So it's a very interesting option too, but Sendy Aiva is way more detailed because of the extension on the highs. So you got a lot of options. I think Focal is interesting if you like the mid-range. I think Hifiman ARYA is a better headphone period on the sound signature. Meze 109 competes very well, and Meze 105 too. And Sendy Aiva is a very good competitor too. So I hope I have illustrated well the painting, the picture to you, so you can decide which $600, $800 headphone should you buy. And if you think this review has been useful, give it a like, consider subscribing to the channel, and I see you guys as always in the future. See ya!